strong even though there's been rain and it's not the best weather. Sincerely from the bottom of my heart for showing up today as we work to hopefully build a better future for all of us. My name is Muad Hrezi, and yes, I'm running for the United States House of Representatives to represent you all in Connecticut's 1st District. For too long, I've seen our leaders in Washington get by doing the bare minimum while the rest of us suffer. Well, that ends now. My parents immigrated to this state nearly 40 years ago. They left their birthplace, in my birthplace of Libya, after being persecuted and fearing for their lives, and we were welcomed here as asylum seekers. They came to America because of the freedoms we all enjoy, but also because of the promise of the American dream, that if you work hard and play by the rules, that you can make it and prosper. So that's what they did. My father started off parking cars as a valet for 20 years and worked his way up to management. My mother was a homemaker and a substitute teacher. After finally feeling like we were beginning to make it, the rug got snatched out from underneath us. During the Great Recession, when greedy bankers and the politicians they bought wrecked the world economy, we all suffered the consequences. My father's pay was slashed. Within weeks, we were foreclosing on our house that we had just purchased a few years ago. The stress built up, and my own mother became severely ill. She was rushed to the hospital that night for an emergency medical procedure that saved her life that night. But it also left us with $20,000 of medical debt, something that no one should have to endure for life-saving treatment and even with good health insurance. While we were all suffering, the masterminds behind the crash got off with just a slap on the wrist and a bailout to the tune of $1 trillion. But when we asked for help, our leaders turned around and said there wasn't enough money for us. And Connecticut has never recovered, quite literally. We are the only state in the union that never returned back to our pre-economic crash levels. But the story also doesn't stop there. That same hospital that gave us $20,000 of medical debt was the same hospital that nearly killed me a few weeks later. When I entered the ER, unable to breathe, with a lung infection, instead of being rushed to treatment, I was interrogated about my parents' medical debt that was unbeknownst to me before then. As a 17-year-old, mind you. I was asked to pay it off, $20,000 of debt. When I couldn't, the hospital forced me to wait for my treatment, while I was literally suffocating on the fluids building up in my lungs. It wasn't until I nearly died, convulsing on the floor, that help finally came. And this was a Connecticut hospital. I was terrified that day. I was afraid that our for-profit, profit-hungry healthcare system would kill me. This is what failure looks like, folks. This is what selling out looks like. This is what a rigged system looks like. I've seen it up front, I've seen it up close, and I've seen it as a congressional staffer in Washington. We have a government that is bought and paid for by greedy special interests. We now have an economy where 60% of Americans make less than $30,000 a year. 60%. While 3 Americans currently own more wealth than the bottom half of all Americans. We're also at the first time in American history where my generation has a worse economic outlook than my parents. Where parents send their kids to school afraid that they might not come home alive. Where our planet is literally on fire, yet we still subsidize the fossil fuel companies with billions of dollars every single year. Where our military-industrial complex sucks trillions of dollars for wars that make us less safe. Where our wages barely increase, but the cost of healthcare skyrockets. And the cost of housing skyrockets, and the cost of education and childcare skyrockets. This is unjust. Yeah. We need to ask ourselves, who is the economy working for? It's not working for me. It is probably not working for you. No. The game has been rigged, and sadly some of our leaders have at best been ineffective at changing that system, and at best and at worst have been complicit in making it. When some of our leaders take millions of dollars from the defense industry, from Wall Street, and from health insurers, we have to understand what that means. It means a system where they are supporting them and not us. So when they decline to support Medicare for all and actually live out the saying that healthcare is a human right, even during the pandemic, we shouldn't be surprised. When they fail to pass a federal $15 minimum wage so that all Americans can live with the peace of mind and dignity that humans deserve, we shouldn't be surprised. When gun violence continues to explode, robbing us of friends and family, and I've lost personal friends and family myself, we still have no change to our gun laws, we shouldn't be surprised. When we see unions weaken over decades, we shouldn't be surprised. When seniors who've worked their entire lives and were promised that they could retire with dignity on Social Security are working multiple jobs to survive, we should all be ashamed, but we shouldn't be surprised. These are the folks that we promised we'd take care of, and yet we did not. And our politicians have created this system, and they've been beholden to corporations, and we should not be surprised that they will always protect those corporate interests that support them during their re-election season. But instead of being shocked, I think we should be finally organizing and galvanizing to change the leaders that are creating a system that is not responsive to our needs. Woo! This campaign is about providing a vision of what America can and should look like for all of us. We're in the world's wealthiest country. We all work hard every single day, but now we need a reality that reflects that we are in the world's most wealthy country and that we all do work hard every single day. There's no reason that a single person should be unhoused in America, but yet we have 500,000 people unhoused every single day. There's no reason any American should die because they cannot afford to see a doctor or pay for their prescription drugs. If we have trillions of dollars to bail out corporations during COVID, then we should certainly have enough to provide basic health care for me and you. If we have trillions of dollars for tax breaks to the ultra-wealthy, then surely we have enough money to ensure that no child in our state or our country ever goes to sleep hungry. Folks, here's the dirty little secret that you learn when you work in Washington. We have enough money to do all these things and ensure everyone lives a dignified and healthy life. But our leaders choose not to do that. It's not an exaggeration anymore to say our leaders' failure to deliver is now killing democracy itself. Every day we move closer to a country that is ruled by billionaires. But we still have time to change our future if we act now, and if we act boldly, if we act together.
Yeah!
You and me, us, all of us, when we come together, we can take on the health insurance industry and make sure we pass Medicare for all.
Yes, we can!
Together we can rein in the military-industrial complex that spends trillions of dollars every single year making sure that we are devastating countries abroad while making us less safe. Together we can create an economy that pays us what we deserve. Together we can ensure that when we save our planet from the existential threat of climate change, together, when we come together, people of different races and religions, people of different genders, sexual orientations, people like this crowd in front of me and the crowd behind me, when we come together and work hard to achieve a better future, when we come together, we can finally achieve the promise of America that we've been fighting for decades and years and centuries now.
Yeah!
And together we will, folks. So thank you guys all from the bottom of my heart for coming out. This is going to be a long campaign season. We're going to need your help. We're going to need your support. And we're just getting started. Thanks, everyone.